I knew deep down I wasn't ready to actually walk away. And that rekindling of that passion and that competitive fire in me was just like, no, I'm gonna bet on myself, and I know I can do it in 4 years, and I know I'm gonna be in Beijing.
Hey. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Oh, thank you so much for coming.
Oh, thanks for having me.
How are you feeling?
Pretty good.
Yeah? What do you think the biggest misconception is about your sport?
There's so many misconceptions. I think a lot of people don't realize how unglamorous it is behind the scenes, and I think this is across the board for a lot of sports. You know, we're living out of suitcases week over week. You pack up, move to the next stop. You race, pack up, move to the next stop. And you know, you're doing all the heavy lifting of loading your sleds in and out of these sled trucks. You're driving around Europe, and sometimes it can get a little monotonous. You have to remind yourself of the opportunity that you've been given. There's so many people that will try out for any given sport, and not many people will get to do that sport. And I'm like, I'm doing this for a living, and I'm having fun. Remember to have fun.
How do you reconnect to the fun or your why?
It's hard at times. For the longest time, I would tie my happiness and contentment with sport to results. And that just, sends you down a very ugly and dirty slope downward. As easy as it sounds, it really does boil down to having fun and living in the moment and surrounding yourself with your people. Like sometimes, like in earlier years of my career, both in track and field and in bobsleigh, I would try to align myself with the people that I thought were for me, and they weren't. And now at 35, I'm just like, no, I know who's in my inner circle. I know who I can lean on, and I know I can be vulnerable with those people. And once you find those people, like, do not let go.
That comes through. I feel, as a fan of yours and as a fan of the Olympics, I feel like I get to see the authentic Cynthia competing and racing. And she's powerful, she's brave, she's everything I want to be. So you are that for so many people.
Thank you. It's funny because I fully credit bobsleigh with finding my voice. I consider myself an introvert still to this day, but I've found like pockets of opportunity where I can express myself how I want to express myself and show little spurts of extrovertedness. Yeah. And I don't think I would have gotten that had I not done bobsleigh. I think 2018 was like the turning point where I was just like, nah, I gotta push what I want to push and fight for what I think I need, because it's not gonna be done for me.
There was a time before finding that voice that it seemed anyways pretty dark in sport for you. You almost quit, is that right?
Yeah.
How did you decide to, make that shift mentally and double down almost and really return to the sport with gumption?
It was hard. Like, I remember being at the games in 2018 and crying every single day. I felt like a shadow because I was there to support my teammates, but I couldn't show my disdain with the decision, and I had to put on a brave face and smile and cheer them on while still being in like private anguish. So I remember leaving Korea, coming home, and just being like so done with it, shut myself from the world, and I just laid on my couch and like cried every single day. And my parents were there to support me, my sisters and family were there to support me, but I just was like, I don't want to go back to this. So to have put everything into it and work all the multiple jobs I did and put every single cent to it and not get so close to it, I was just like, what else is there left to do? Like, there's nothing more left to do. So for me, the natural choice was to quit. And I remember going to lunch with Shelly Ann Brown, who I watched in 2010, and she was the inspiration for me to get into the sport to begin with. And she said, one of her biggest regrets was not taking the opportunity to try driving. And she's like, I don't want that for you. I want you to try your hand at driving and then make a decision then, once you've done the driving school, and see if you still like the sport. So begrudgingly, I signed up. And over the course of the 3 weeks, I met some of like the closest friends I have in the sport now. And it rekindled not only my love and passion for the sport, but that competitive drive that I thought I had lost after not going to 2018. I knew deep down I wasn't ready to actually walk away. And so made the decision to come back, knowing what was ahead of me. I knew I was gonna crash more oftentimes than I wasn't. And that rekindling of that passion and that competitive fire in me was just like, no, I'm gonna bet on myself, and I know I can do it in 4 years, and I know I'm gonna be in Beijing.
You're a leader within the sled, and certainly within the bobsleigh community, but now also the Canadian team at large. What does that responsibility feel like to you?
It's a lot, it's a big responsibility. It's tough, right? You know that a lot of people will look up to you as you progress in the sport longer and longer. They actively ask for your wisdom, and you hope you're giving the best advice. Like sometimes I second guess myself when people ask questions. I'm like, hey, but you know, that's just me though, just to like safeguard myself. But it's a challenge that I take almost like readily and wholeheartedly, because I do genuinely love being able to pass the torch on to the next generation and see how has what I've done to make the sport better really made a difference. How is it helping the next generation? What can I do more? What am I not doing enough? I think we're in a better position now than we were even just 2 years ago. At the end of the day, I'm happy that I take on that role to really better the sport.
I've been dying to ask about these spikes.
Yes.
They look well loved.
That's a great term to use for them, yep.
Can you talk me through the design of them? Talk me through what they mean to you as you see them kind of out of context here on a beautiful coffee table.
It's funny because I always like to say that these are the most expensive pair of shoes I've ever bought, and they're not even Louboutins. But these are some, as you said, very well loved spikes. Not too long after switching to the driving role, I wanted to kind of showcase a little bit of my personality and my culture and my family, and I randomly came across an Instagram account of a shoe designer, shoe painter out in Nova Scotia. And he was like, 100% will do it. And so we worked together to create a design where it showcased my Canadian background, but also my Ghanaian background. And so the outside of the shoe was red with white maple leaves. And then on the inside was the Ghanaian flag. And I really wanted to showcase my Ghanaian heritage because they have been such a huge contributing factor to my career, to how I've been raised, who I am as a person. We've got such a great, vibrant Ghanaian community in Toronto and the GTA, and I kind of wanted to do this as like a little token of appreciation for just being with me every step of the way.
What legacy do you hope to have? And perhaps more importantly, what impact do you hope to have on the next generation?
You know, everyone has their own way of interpreting this saying, but we started using on bobsleigh, leave the shirt better than how you found it. And it's essentially, you know, once your time in sport is done, you have contributed in a way to make the culture better so that the next influx of athletes coming in can be like, man, this is the greatest sport ever. I never want to leave. I've joined a lot of athlete groups. You know, I sit on the COC Athlete Commission. I also sit on Athletes Can because I really want to stress the importance of athlete safety, that they feel, you know, secure, that they're not going to be in danger, they're not going to be put in compromising positions, and that ultimately they have fun. I think sometimes when we get really caught up in the medal at all costs mentality, shortcuts are made and decisions are made that will have irreparable harm on people further down the line. And however way I can stem that and stop it dead in its tracks, I feel like that's the legacy I want to bring.
Thank you so much for sharing,
you.
Cynthia. I feel like we could have talked for 3 hours.
Yeah.